Hello YouTubers and welcome to my channel. This is Tony FL, and today I'd like to bring you an interesting video and share a little knowledge and experience that I've come across it with, and it refers to the FX Impact as well as the Maverick. Orion and I had gotten together because he had sent me these magazines so that I can test and review. And as you remember, those of you who have seen my video, I did a review on this particular magazine with the Impact, and it worked great. But now I came across a situation where both these air rifles are jamming up with the Orion magazines as well as the OEM magazines. Now, why is that? When I did my previous video that I reviewed this particular magazine in my hands, I didn't have my power slug kit installed on here. I had the OEM power probe. The OEM probe. So I had purchased from Pyramid Air the power kit slug from Maverick Wildcat, and that's on this one. But I also purchased one for this gun. And as I was using it, I made my adjustment to the pin, because the pin here has to be properly adjusted so that when you insert your magazines on any of these guns, you can get them to enter easily and retract easily. So what I'm going to do, and I want to show you what I found and the solution that I have for all these items here to work in conjunction with one another. Right now I have a jammed magazine in this gun, and me and Orion were going back and forth with the Maverick because I was having some issues when it came to reloading my barrel and inserting a slug or a pellet into the STX heavy liner. And we couldn't figure out why is it doing that? Why is it doing that? And it dawned on me when I realized that when I did not have this power probe on, all these magazines work perfectly. But I thought, and I stand here and I'll admit it, I thought that it was a problem with the magazine. And this occurred after my video, my review on this. Again, I stated before, when I reviewed this magazine, I did not have that power slug kit installed on this rifle. So it worked perfectly. But as soon as I installed this power probe, that's when everything started to change. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that camera close up to the table, and I'm going to show you what's happening. Hang in there. Okay guys, so I got the camera zoomed in so I can demonstrate what's going on here. When you install a FX power slug kit with its probe, that adjustable needle, you're told that to adjust the needle so it'll sit kind of flush to the rear of your magazine insert, which is on your buttstock. So yes, you back this needle up here till you get it flush while your hammer's cocked back, and you make that adjustment and you pass your finger through it and you kind of make sure that it's clear. That way, when you insert your magazine, it goes in smoothly and it comes out smoothly. But there's a problem still. This only works with pellets. Why pellets? Because a pellet has a skirt in the rear of it. That needle slides into the skirt to push that pellet further in. But when you're using slugs, slugs have flat ends or disc ends, which are not deep enough. So yeah, it'll push this in. But what happens is when you're using this and your slug is in the magazine there, and if you see the difference, that needle is just as wide as the magazine, and then you have your slug there. So when you're pushing this in, it releases and your probe has not fully entered the magazine, so it spins on you, right? It spins and it binds. Now that tapered end is hitting the insert. So now here you are thinking what's going on, and you're forcing it in, and boom, you get it through. Okay, you shot your round. Now you back up again to get the next round, and you go poof, push it out, and it does it again. The magazine spins, your round came out, and you're forcing it in. So this is a problem that we were having, and I didn't realize that prior. Now, I thought when I got these magazines, I did a review on this magazine in particular on my Impact, but my Impact did not have this installed. It had the original OEM probe, which is a tube with a hole at the bottom to allow the air to flow through the air port, the transfer port. So I decided, okay, I'm upgrading my air guns. Let me install my probes on my Maverick and my Impact. And I did what I had to do to get this thing to the proper adjustment so that the magazines can insert and be released. But I never thought for a moment that I was going to run into an issue while I was using it. So the solution to this is, if you're going to use this for slugs, you're going to have to back this needle out a little so that when you're pushing it, that slug still is holding the edge of your insert, while this tapered end of your probe is starting to enter the insert to prevent the spin on your magazine, and it'll slide in smoother and easier. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some minor adjustments to this probe to demonstrate what is actually going on. If any of you guys out there who have power probes on your guns and you're switching from pellets and slugs, you're going to have to make a decision what you're going to use your probe for. I understand that the probe is designed to push the pellet further in so that you can get the maximum advantage of your transfer port. So when you're releasing that air pressure and that air valve opens up, you're going to get the full effect of the air pressure behind that pellet. But if you're using slugs and you still want to get that slug further in, you got to take into consideration that slugs don't have a skirt at the end. They're flat or dish. And that needle, as soon as it touches that back end, it's going to push that slug in and it's going to release the magazine. On the other end, let me get a pellet to demonstrate. Bear with me. I should have been ready for that, but bear with me. I want you to see it. Hold on. Okay. Here's a pellet. I got a Gamma 22 caliber pellet. This is a 25, but just for argument's sake, the pellet has that deep hole in the back, that skirt. So if you look, I'm going to place that there, and I'm going to place the slug here so you guys can see what's going on. Okay, here we go. Now, you're about to load your barrel. So you take the probe and you start to push. Look, you saw how it fell already? And the probe's not completely in. Now, with the pellet, being that it's got that skirt in the rear, that needle is going to go in further. And the probe is going to get closer. So it will, that tapered end will grab the magazine and prevent it from spinning and binding. So you will be able to get this further in. So for you guys who are using slugs and you're trying to get that slug a little deeper inside, you need to retract that needle towards the rear so that it at least halfway back, so that slug still holds that magazine while that tapered end of your probe is starting to enter that insert, the magazine insert. So let me see if I can do this here. We're gonna back this out, and we're gonna turn this just about there. Now, if you can see, that should be sufficient enough where that tapered end is entering the insert and your slug is still hanging onto the edge of that magazine. So I'm trying to do this where my fat fingers are not in the way. But let me try to use the magazine here. All right, so I'm gonna place the slug in here. And I'm gonna insert this here. Now, check it out clearly. See? The slug is starting to come out. But now my tapered end on the probe is starting to grab that magazine. So it'll I spun on me, but that's because this fell. Let me do it again. So we got the slug in there. I'm trying to flip this around so you can see what's happening. But we're gonna push this in, and you see the slug is starting to come out, but the tapered end is already grabbing, and it goes in. So that minor adjustment is going to be needed to reduce any jamming issues that you may have with any magazine. It's not, if you guys have purchased a Orion magazine and you're thinking that there's a problem with his magazines, I guarantee you there isn't. Because it happens with these as well. This is an Impact magazine, and I'm going to shove a slug in this one just to show you the same exact effect. It's happening with any magazine, any FX magazine. And any Orion magazine, or if you have another brand, an aftermarket brand. But here it is. You got your sluggers in there. I'm going to push the slug through, and the magazine, you know, holds on. But if this needle is extended further out, it's gonna bite. The magazine's gonna spin on you, and it's gonna hang up, and then you can't get it to go through. So that's what's going on with this. I hope that this is something that'll help you guys if you guys are shooting slugs and pellets through your gun, and you're asking yourself, well, why is it that my pellets will work with the probe and my slugs don't? And that's your reason why. That adjustment right there has to be made if you decide to shoot slugs through your magazines. And believe me, Orion and I were going back and forth, you know, trying to figure out the mechanical issue that we were dealing with his magazines and the FX magazines and the power probe. And there is no problem with the FX magazine or the Orion magazine. There's no problem with them. The problem is your adjustment on your probe. So please keep this in mind. If you're going to use a probe, a power probe, power slug kit, I'm sorry, I keep saying power probe. A power slug kit with this particular probe that has that adjustable needle, you need to remember, a pellet has a skirt. That needle is going to go into the skirt. A slug doesn't. So if you're going to shoot slugs, you got to adjust that needle. Okay guys, I'm back. And I got the FX on the table. And please excuse me if my video doesn't come out to perfection. But this magazine here is jammed. Okay, let me turn this a little bit here. On this impact, this magazine here is jammed because I ran into this problem. This also has a power slug kit, and as you can see, my lever's cocked back. I can't pull this out because the slug entered the barrel, but the little rear, the rear of the slug is barely grabbing that magazine at the end here, and it won't let the magazine come out. Now, why did that happen? Because my adjustment on this pin was not right, and the magazine spun on me, and that was my last round. So as it spun, it went into the dead stop. So now my probe won't go in because it went to its dead stop. Now I got behind here a stuck slug. Three quarters of it must be inside the barrel, and at least the rear end of it is holding this magazine from sliding out. So what I'm going to do to relieve that is I'm going to use a real thin screwdriver. I hope I don't damage my magazine. I'd rather damage the magazine than to damage the gun. So I'm going to try to get the screwdriver in between that clear plastic lid. Just wedge it in there slightly, ever so slightly, enough where I can get my thinnest Allen key here to spin that back. I want to spin it back. Okay, I got it. And oh, a little more. Gotta go a little more. Oh, bear with me, guys. It's not an easy task. So I got it in there. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm gonna slide it. I'm gonna rotate it counterclockwise so I can get this probe to go through. Oh boy. There we go. There it is. It went through. Now I was able to shove in that pellet, that slug. So now you're gonna hear it hit its dead stop. I'm gonna cock it. I'm gonna bring it back again. Did you hear that? It released. So now I can be able to pull this out. There is a slug in the barrel. So I gotta be careful. I got it on safety. Make sure I have it on safe. Yes, it's unsafe. Okay. So if you guys run into a situation where your pin is not properly adjusted to use slugs, that would be a way to not damage your magazine, not damage your gun, and be able to release this. This is Tony FL, and thank you for watching. Again, these magazines are outstanding, and I fully recommend them to anybody. Thank you. You guys for watching, and please feel free to hit that subscribe button. Show me some love and support, and I will continue to bring you more educational videos. I'm learning just like you guys are. We're all gonna run into some situations. I've ran into this one, and I'm sharing it with you so you have a way of solving your problem, and I'm sharing that solution. Thank you. Thanks again, guys. Peace.